MojiSola Meranda has officially assumed office as the Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly. Now, yesterday, she was welcomed by House members to the Lagos State Assembly complex, where a prayer session was held for unity and smooth leadership. But here is what you should know about this story. MojiSola Meranda was the deputy to former Speaker of the House, Mudashiru Obasa, who was impeached on the 13th of January 2025 following allegations of misconduct and misappropriation of funds. Obasa strongly rejected his removal, calling the process unconstitutional and may seek redress in court.
However, here's what we know. Obasa was conspicuously absent from the assembly yesterday as Meranda assumed office officially. Obasa was expected at the complex following his promise to resume back to office as Speaker regardless of his impeachment. In respect his statement, there was tight security to forestall any breakdown of law and order at the complex yesterday. Also, yesterday's plenary was adjourned to a later date by the leadership of the House. It was expected that Meranda would appoint chairmen to head standing committees that will oversee activities of the ministries, departments, and agencies in Lagos State. Now, join us this morning on Breakfast Central to discuss the recent political crisis in the Lagos State Assembly is legal practitioner Liborous Oshoma. Warm welcome to you, Liborous, and thanks for joining us on Breakfast Central.
Thank you.
Let's start with the legality of it. The former Speaker, Mudashiru Obasa, upon his return to Nigeria, said, "I am still Speaker." And he said that the way he was removed was illegal. He said he wasn't present. What does the law say about the process of the removal of a Speaker?
I think, thank you first and foremost, and I think it is the press that are actually helping Obasa to feel that his process, his removal was illegal. Because here we use the words impeachment and removal interchangeably. They are two different processes. Removal is a simpler process. Impeachment is a longer process. Impeachment, actually, by Oxford Dictionary definition, is a charge against an elected officer. So, and when you charge, you would hear the other side, the doctrine, the twin pillars of natural justice. So, for impeachment processes against, you can only impeach somebody who is elected for that office. Nobody goes to the poll to say, I'm contesting for the office of a Speaker. So nobody is elected by the people, by the constituent as Speaker. It is your colleagues that appointed you, elected you as a Speaker. So it is your colleague that will remove you and not impeach you. So for governor, deputy governor, president, or vice president that are elected by the people, for you to remove them, you will have to impeach them. And the impeachment process is the one spelled out in section 188, subsection 1 to 9, and then subsection 10. Then for removal of a Speaker, section 91 created the office of the Speaker and also spells out how he shall be removed and not impeached. So when the media said Obasa has been impeached, and so I heard him saying that you can't impeach me, you can remove him. He should even be happy that they are using the word impeachment for him, because impeachment is a longer process. You would have to serve the person notice, and then you hear the other side, you know, and all of that. If he had said, well, I can only be impeached and not removed, like a governor would say, I can't be removed from office, I can only be impeached. So, but for Obasa, permit me quickly, because I have had cause to take time to read this to the benefit of our viewers, section 92 of the Constitution, because I have not heard him cite any section of either their rule book.
Is he a lawyer? Sorry to butt in. He's meant to be a legal colleague of yours.
That's what I learned, that he's a lawyer.
Have you seen him in court?
Okay, oh, you learned?
I learned he's a lawyer.
Okay. So let's move on.
So I will leave it at that. And but I've listened to him, and I never heard him talk about the particular sections or the rules, you know. And even if he's not a lawyer, as a lawmaker, most of your sittings, your business in the House, you know, you dwell on rules. You cite rules, regulations, order, you know, I'm standing on order this, you rule that. So if you look at section 92, sub 1, it said there shall be a speaker and a deputy speaker of the House of Assembly who shall be elected by the members of the House from amongst themselves. From amongst themselves. And so it is like first among equal, or a class rep. The class decided, let us elect one person to be the class rep. So subsection 2 says the speaker or deputy speaker of the House shall vacate his seat if he ceases to be a member of the House, otherwise than by the raising of the dissolution of the House, or when the House first sits after the dissolution of the House, or if he is removed from office by a resolution of the House of Assembly by the votes of not less than 2/3 majority of the members of the House. You have a House of 40 members. 2/3 majority of 40, if we do the math, is 26. Yeah. And now you have 37. That's more than 2/3 majority. And 37 comes to say, we hereby vote to remove, unanimously, to remove the speaker. There is nothing in this constitution or in their rule books that say the speaker must be present to be removed.
It could be removed in absentia.
It could be removed in absentia. The only thing is that the business of the House, as heard by the Supreme Court in the 2 cases of Peter Obi and then the Ladoja's case, that the business of the House of Assembly must be conducted in the place designated as House of Assembly. So in this case, was the business conducted in the hallowed chambers? The business was conducted here. And then he talked about the maze.
Yeah, I was going to.
You now begin to ask yourself, is there any document that designates what is official maze and what is not official maze? If you remember during Okadigbo's time, Okadigbo took the maze to his village, you know, in Anambra. And come Monday the next week, there was another maze.
It's just a symbolism.
It's a symbol. And so when you say they use a fake maze, which one is the authentic maze?
Did they conduct DNA on the mix?
Exactly. so I expect this is a very serious matter. I expected him to also, you know, come out maybe after discussing with his lawyers, reel out sections and various rules that have been broken in his impeachment, and then, you know, take the next step. But to come out to say, I'm not afraid to be removed, and but you should follow the due process. You should follow the law. When Jokotolak Pelumi was removed, he was in the house. When what's this other lady's name from Elukbeju, Kemi? I will remember her name. When she was removed, she was in the house. When members were suspended, they were in the house. That he wasn't around. What if, just like Okadigbo, he got wind of the fact that he was going to be removed? Because these were the same people that wore dark goggles with him. They gave him a passive vote of confidence on him. So he probably got the wind that he was going to be removed. After all efforts to thwart the process, it didn't work. He now decided to lock up the maze somewhere and travel abroad,
that will save him.
Thinking that will save him. But he was mistaken, forgetting that the maze is just a symbol. Once your colleagues that, you know, elected you as class rep decided that, you know, they no longer have confidence in you, the best thing would be you come back to the house, greet them and say, look, it happens. I enjoyed the time I spent here. It is now time to go. And that way he would have been few inches taller if he had taken that step.
Which was yesterday.
Yes, no, even without addressing the press on the weekend, come to the house yesterday, and then greet his colleagues and take, you know, what had happened in his stride. Thank all of them for the time he served, and that life continues for the betterment of Lagos State. You ended up, after the press conference, you now ended up greeting the governor, greeting the first lady, greeting the GSC. President, greeting the GSC. So what was all of that for? So if at the end of the day, the GSC has accepted your removal, you greeted them, but you say no, the due process was not followed, that you still remain the speaker. So that means you want to fight the establishment that made you. You know, some of these politicians will overrate them sometimes.
I mean, if we look at this in totality, it now clearly shows that Mudashiru Obasa himself possibly did not sit with his lawyers to really look at this clearly before he took that decision to come to the press on Saturday. But that's on the other side. On the other hand, yesterday he was expected to be at the assembly, but he did not show up. We were told that there was heavy presence of police officers, possibly due to the fear that he may be coming with his own, set of supporters who could cause a storm, who could whip a storm, cause a riot, you name it, here and there. But going further, since he wasn't at the assembly yesterday, is there any other law that could lead to the fact that should he come and cause trouble, what could likely happen?
Two things. At the chambers, there's what they call a legislative immunity. Whatever happens at the chambers, you cannot, go to court against it. You can't say, okay, there was a scuffle in the chambers and then you are charging people for parliamentarians or what happened in the chambers. They enjoy that immunity. That's why sometimes you see them, they fight, they tear each other's clothes like Dino Melaye.
Use the mace and hit
use
and
the
run
mace
away.
to all of that, like Evans BP in Port Harcourt and River State and all of that. So, but with this attitude from sampling public opinion also, with the attitude, you discover that he does not enjoy, public opinion support. Unlike Nigerians, they always support the person they feel is, the underdog. But for this one, everybody says, look, it's good riddance or bad rubbish. And that attitude is what is making people see him in that light. And with what he had displayed, you could say, even though he queried the fact that there were policemen at the assembly complex the day he was impeached on the 13th of January, you could say this attitude that he's exhibiting a conduct likely to breach public peace. And so there was need to anticipate that there might be breach of public peace. And so there's need to forestall that. And so with all of those threats that happened over the weekend, I would have been surprised. I would have blamed the police if the assembly complex, there were no security at the assembly complex yesterday. Because you anticipate that there's going to be, with the kind of crowd that came out, Agege is not Victoria Island.
Those ones that were singing on your mandate,
exactly,
that were put in the Black Barrier the other day.
Yes, exactly. So those guys that were singing on your mandate said they were you that came to pay courtesy visit on a man that is not around.
And it's the legislative chambers, the venue for courtesy visits.
Exactly. So, and then over the weekend, you saw the crowd also with Obasa and all of that, and he insisting that he's still the speaker. Somebody actually said, let him resume on Monday, let's know who the speaker is. According to IBB, he once told Abiola that when he said Abiola had declared himself as president, he said, you can declare, but we know who the president is. So in this case, he had declared that he still remains the speaker, but by yesterday, we actually knew who the speaker is. So, sorry, quickly. So the issue is, now with the threat issued, you'd certainly, if you are the police, you would want to anticipate that if, steps are not taken to forestall any breakdown of law and order, there would be, so there's need to have police presence. But also, another thing that's very germane for me is the fact that there were allegations of financial impropriety raised.
And that brings me to this question. You talked about legislative immunity, but Lagosians elected this representatives into the State House of Assembly. And let's talk about the reasons why he was removed, the financial misconduct. A lot of taxpayers are looking at the Lagos State House of Assembly. The spotlight is on them. 1 billion for Hilux, 17 billion for Gates. I'm sure when they built Gateway Hotel in Ota, it wasn't up to that. So when do we see criminal proceedings against Obasa? And are we going to hear more of this expose, the details, like they say, the devil is in the details of this alleged corruption? Are they duty bound to inform Lagosians that, look, this is what is happening?
Like I said, a speaker can be removed without reasons. It's just like master-servant relationship. But when there are allegations of financial impropriety, it is no longer a family affair, like APC is trying to make it look. PDP those days will tell us it's family affair. APC is towing the same line. It's a family affair. We're going to resolve it. It shouldn't, because we're talking about public funds. So it shouldn't end at the realm of family affair. He says he has defense, that he has receipts. It is not enough to have receipts. If I can build a gate for 3 billion and I will have receipts for it, this is Nigeria. So, but whether that 3 billion actually, was used to build that receipt is what investigation would reveal. So I would enjoin, if APC is not ready to do a petition to EFCC, because I would enjoin the opposition in Lagos, if they still exist anyway, to do a petition to the EFCC, requesting them to investigate this. And then EFCC should not sit back. We saw their commando-like style with Yaya Bello. They should also invite, Obasa. He says he has receipts. The investigation will reveal if this receipt truly, I can say I bought this top, for example, for ₦1 billion. And then you actually go to the market to do market survey, and you discover that it was sold for far, far less, maybe 50,000 naira. But there's a receipt. So both the man who issued the receipt and then the person who is also showcasing the receipt, we need to ask them for that question. So those are the issues. It's not enough to just say we treat this as a family affair, we are resolving it. And then another thing, those financial impropriety, the Lagos State Assembly should not make us believe that they were smoke screen. Because if you sweep the matter under the carpet, people will believe that they were smoke screen, that they were just mere allegations to paint a dog a bad name. Yet because of his attitude. During the budget presentation, you saw the attitude of the former speaker, and a lot of people felt maybe it's because he was contesting ambition. Yeah, it's a political ambition. Yeah, we agree. In politics, ambition kills faster than poison. You remember Julius Caesar was killed for passively seeming to be ambitious, even though his friend Mark Antony disagreed that he wasn't ambitious. In politics, ambition, we've seen people sacrifice for being ambitious. Exactly. So in this case, Ikufuriji was ambitious. He sat as speaker, even contested primaries with Ambode. So he wasn't removed. So I would not believe that is ambition, because in Lagos, we know who selects. You can be ambition. 100 people can come out and want to be governor. The day the man who decide that it is, Benga, and every other person will koto. The moment you go to court, you are suspended from the party. And once you are suspended, you are told that since you are no longer a member of the party, you have no locus to challenge what happens to the party. And that's the way they have been doing it. So it is not his ambition. His ambition is too small to want to suspend him. But I think it is more about his attitude.
Do you think the position got into his head? I mean, it's been in the legislature for about 20 years, speaker for 9 years. Did power corrupt him?
Yes, I think so. I think power corrupted him. He went, even from his statement, he talks as if, the office of a speaker was elected. He was elected for the office of speakership, and so he behaves, he carries himself as that. And so I think power corrupted him, because ordinarily you would expect, having been elected by your colleagues. And then we know, apart from Lagos State, every other state, almost every other state in Nigeria, you don't become speaker without the input of the governor. In some cases, the moment you fall out with the governor, you're going the next day. But here, because you have a Baba Sokwe, who decides who becomes governor and who becomes whatever in Lagos. So some persons can become speaker even without, having the support of the governor. But at the national level, you can't become a Senate president without the president sitting down to agree that, okay, yes, this person should go and that person should become, and they share the positions like that.
Unless a Saraki situation.
And Buhari said anybody that emerge, I'll work with him. But Saraki emerged, did they eventually work with him? They chased him until, they took the ticket from him. So all of this issue of, it's because the governor is interested. Yeah. You can't be a speaker in Lagos State and not be in good terms with the governor. Except the man who is deciding decides that, okay, look, I want him there. But then, if you look at, I listened to Elder Fuad Oki. He said that, what do you call him? Obasa was becoming an emperor. Nobody could talk to him. And they called him to order severally. And they waited for the president to come. So, and they reported the matter. He also called a meeting and he saw the attitude himself. So that means that all of this they had seen consistently. Yeah. And so they decided it was time for him to go. You can't be an island. And even the members of the house that he thought were in his cupboards or were in his pocket, the way he spoke, oh, they have been loyal to me.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
They have been loyal to me.
Almost like an institution of
and we know in Yoruba culture, even as an Alafi, once your Yomesis decide that you have crossed your line, they present you with a calabash.
That's it. And that leads to your ouster, your exit.
Yes.
Anyway, before we go, just one last question. Before we go, let's look at MojiSola Meranda from deputy. Let's just take a look at this video and see what transpired yesterday.
Lawada.
It's a video of the new speaker, former deputy. A lot of drama going on there, right?
Quite religious, you know, giving thanks to God. Very religious bunch there.
But what we wonder,
pretense. Pretense.
You call it pretense, right?
Yes, pretense.
Why do you call it pretense?
These are the same people that wore dark goggles with Obasa. So they passed a vote of confidence on him. So the current speaker should look, you know, behind her back. These all of them were with Obasa. Right? She should be careful. It's not everybody. The same people that shouted Hosanna to the Lord on Friday were the same people that shouted crucify him on Sunday. So these same people, for me, they are politicians. What is our place? Politics. But it is good for the current speaker, you know, they came out to pay allegiance, to show Obasa that, look, if we were once loyal to you, we are loyal to a new cause now. So that's also is a way of sending strong signal and strong messages. You know, she's taken the office and, you know, now there'll be realignment. And that realignment, some people would get juicy and some people will get non-juicy.
House of cards. I only just wish they'd use the same type of energy and enthusiasm to improve the lot of
exactly. So that's my challenge here. So you people somebody once said that Lagos House of Assembly is one of the most docile, because whatever happens, there's no innovation. You know, it's either, okay, the executive bill, what do you call it, mostly executive bills, and then maybe a constitutional, constitutional amendment, like the local government autonomy, you know, and all of those things. And, you know, you hardly hear that, okay, yes, Lagos State House of Assembly has taken initiative to do X, Y, Z. You know, so it is like, you know, tiwa. Yeah. So when you hear them talk like this, oh yes, because we want to be independent, you begin to wonder what kind of independence that we're talking about here. But really, Lagos being first in so many, maybe that's why, you know, you have the kind of people you have. Anybody can go to Lagos Assembly, just pass your time there the next 4 years, or someday you just become speaker like Obasa.
Thank you so much for being with us and shedding light into this. I'm sure a lot of our viewers have benefited, and we'll look forward to see what will happen. Hopefully, Obasa will show up humbly, maybe, and just resume office.
And it can also stay away from work for too long, because there are house rules.
Yeah, if you stay away, your seat might be declared vacant.
Let's hope that that will not be the next phase, hopefully.